Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. It is Erev Shabbos, Parashat Re'eh. And quick thought. We read in this week's Parasha a review of a lot of different halachos. But one of the sets of halachos that we find over here is the laws of kashrus. And the Torah describes to us those behemos, those animals that are tmeos, and those that are tahoros. And really, the laws of kashrus is definitely a chok, something that we don't really understand why this is kosher, why this is treif, etc. But perhaps at a level of machshava, we can get an insight into the nature of how the Torah describes the kosher animals, how it describes the treif animals. Will divide us into three very simple categories. First of all, when it comes to birds. So when it comes to birds, the Torah identifies those birds that we have a Masorah that are kosher and those that are treif, but we know as a matter of fact that the nature of the birds that are treif birds, the eagle, for example, the bat, for example, these tend to be birds of aggression. They're aggressive type birds, they are attacking type birds, they have a certain aggressive nature to them, and the ophos that are tahor are more placid, more calm, if you will, and therefore perhaps again a message that the Torah is transmitting to us is that you are what you eat, and the more aggressive, violent type birds are the ones that the Torah enjoins us to stay away from, and those that are of a more placid, domestic type nature, those are the ones that have a heter achila. When it comes to fish, so we are told there are simanim when it comes to kosher fish, when it comes to non-kosher fish, and the Torah tells us that which ones are we allowed to eat? Those that have snapir v'kaskeses tochelu, fins and scales. V'kol asher ein lo snapir v'kaskeses lo tochelu tamehu lachem. So what is the message of fins and scales? So why does a fish have scales? Why does a fish have fins? And notice the type of fish that we're not allowed to eat. We can't eat starfish. We can't eat octopus. We can't eat swordfish. These fish lack either scales or fins. What is the message on a machshava level of fins or scales? So scales, if you think about it, scales look like armor. They look like a coat of armor that is adorning the fish. It's not regular skin. It's like, imagine a knight, a coat of armor that the fish wears. Fins enable a fish to escape danger. A starfish just kind of floats around on the bottom of the ocean. Octopus does not move around very quickly. Once a fish has fins and scales, it has the ability to escape danger in a faster way. And perhaps the message that the Torah is telling us is that we live in a world that is challenging, that has danger in it, that has predators that are seeking to bring us down, to attack us. And a person has to be ready for that, has to meet those challenges. And the way to meet those challenges is in two separate and distinct ways. One is to have a body of armor, to be physically protected, to know that even if arrows are slung at you, you will have the armor to go ahead and protect you from those daggers. But on the other hand, sometimes the move is not to stop and fight and rely on protection. Sometimes the move is to run away, to escape dangerous situations. An environment that is dangerous to a person's spirituality, sometimes the correct move is not just to stay there and say, yes, I'm strong enough. I have my body of armor. I can protect myself. Sometimes the correct move is to swim away, is to move to safer, more secure environments. And a fish, the simone kashrus of a fish, snapir v'kaskeses, perhaps represent those two ideals. Another thought is Chazal tell us that one of the simonim, let's say you find a fish and it does not have fins or scales because they've been already somehow peeled off. Is it a kosher fish or not? How do you tell? So a siman, an indicator is, does the fish have a shidra? Does it have a spine? If the fish has a spine and let's say the fins and scales have already been peeled off, so that's an indicator it's a kosher fish. Starfish don't have spines. Octopus doesn't have a spine. Jellyfish doesn't have a spine. A spine is an indicator. Why? Because a spine is what enables a fish to swim upstream. Imagine those famous Canadian salmon who have to swim against the tide. So a starfish just goes wherever the water brings it. But a fish that has a backbone has the ability to swim upstream against the tide. And perhaps that's also a siman kashrus of a human being, is that when the whole world is flowing in a certain direction, the ability to be strong enough to swim against the tide. When the tide is going downstream, to swim upstream. That's not only a siman kashrus of a fish, that's also a siman kashrus of a human being. And lastly, we have animals that we're allowed to eat. And the Torah tells us, V'chol behema, mafris parsa v'shosah shesa, ma'ale geira babehema oso tochelu. Two simanei kashrus of animals. One is shosah shesa, is that it has split hooves. And the other is male geira. So what does male geira mean? Male geira means what's the right word? It has a process of, it ruminates, that's the right word. Ruminates. It chews its cud. The word ruminate means to chew its cud, but it also means to think, to ponder. Let me chew on that for a second. Let me consider. Let me reflect. Let me deliberate. Other animals that don't chew their cud, they eat, they swallow, that's it, game over. When it comes to the animals that are malei geira, the idea of malei geira means to reflect, to deliberate, to think. I'll chew on it a little bit. I'll ruminate about it a little bit. I'll consider, because life is full of mafris parsa shosah shesa. Life is full of forks in the road, where I can go in one of two directions. See, that's what the split hooves represents. I can take two different paths. I have bechira chavshis. I can go to the right, I can go to the left. I can walk in this direction, I can walk in that direction. What guides me in making the right choices? Impulsivity? No. Yet what guides me is malei geira, is to be a ruminator, to be a thinker, to reflect on my situation, on my condition, and make smart, proper choices. That's the message, perhaps, on a machshava level, of the combination of shosah shesa, mafris parsa, and malei geira, in order to make sure I'm walking down the right path. I'm making the right, when I hit those forks in the road, I'm choosing the right direction. I have to be a chacham. Ezahu chacham haroa es hanola. Right now there's a fork in the road, but where is that fork going to lead me? A mile down, 10 miles down. So in order to make good decisions when we hit those forks in the road, we have to have that midah of malei geira. We have to be deliberate. We have to think. One of my favorite works of art is, I have someone who's recording me right now, and she's sitting like this as the thinker. It's a work of art, a sculpture, a reflective posture. A person's thinking about his destiny, thinking about where he's heading, what's it all about. When he has those points of bechira, he's thinking about where he wants to end up. As Stephen Covey tells us in the second habit, begin with the end in mind. When you hit those forks in the road, understand where you want to get to. Consider, reflect, begin with the end in mind, and then Bez Hashem, you'll make the right choices. So again, the laws of kashrus are a chok, but perhaps on a machshava level, we learn the lessons of not being aggressive people, of being people that have good boundaries, have a good shield, know how to escape danger, and also know how to make good decisions. Be thinkers, be reflective, be deliberative, so that when we hit those forks in the road, the decisions that we make are the proper ones.